Welcome to the Ozzstar channel. I'm Glenn, and today we've got this BMW M3 here behind me. It's the E36. It's a 1998 model. It's got the 3.2 liter straight six in it, but it's got a supercharger, aftermarket supercharger on it. Anyhow, from what I understand, what the owner tells me, my buddy Ben, it's saying that the car's stalling out. So I go and do a test drive yesterday before it was like 50 and rainy, because now I'm wearing my sweat jacket here in the middle of May. But anyway, definitely confirmed the car does stall out. We're going to go in there. The car's been sitting overnight. I'm going to fire it up. I'm going to hook a quick little cheapo scan tool to it, and we'll see if there's any codes and give us direction to fix the problem. But it seems like it fires right up, cuts out, and starts right back up. So he also tells me that it's lagging in power. When he really gets on it, it's cutting out and all that good stuff. So why don't we go in the car and see what's going on. All right, so let me turn the ignition on and come down here. I already plugged in the scan tool, but let's hit some vehicle diagnostics. Hopefully you can see that okay. Let's go down here. I think I put this in, yeah. I had to put in 97, even though it's a 98 model, because the 98, I wasn't getting E36 M3. So it should be the same deal. Let me press enter, and we'll let this load up. Hopefully it won't take too long. If it is, I'll edit out the downtime. And then we'll see if we have codes here and then fire it up. Press enter. Okay, so it's saying that we have 4 codes. Let's go in and see that. We've got a P0170, fuel trim bank 1, 0173, fuel trim bank 2, a P1189, which I believe is like a fuel related code in these Euro cars, and then a P1188. Okay, so we definitely have something going on there. Let me get out of that. Actually, I'll go down to let's go up here to data stream. I'll fire that up. I don't know if this is going to cut out. I want to start the car up, and let's do that. So let me turn this up. Now we should see the symptoms here, because it definitely happened to me yesterday. This is a 5-speed manual, so I'm going to push the clutch in, and the car starts right up, and then it seems like it just kind of dies on its own. So take a look at that tachometer there. Fire right up. I'm not going to touch the accelerator. Idle's coming down. There we go. It's starting. No, it went back up. It idled back up. Let's see. Just going to leave it for a second. It sounds like it wants to cut out. It doesn't seem like a miss, though. It's not happy. I don't think you can pick it up on camera. There we go. Idle went down a little bit, came back up. It is hunting a little bit. Let me give it a little juice. What it was doing yesterday is it would idle smooth like this, and then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, the RPMs here would just come down, get below 500, and shut off. The engine would just cut off. So it doesn't seem like it's doing it right now. It smells sort of rich. You smell some richness here. Let me look at my data stream. Okay, so I'm going to let it warm up, and hopefully this will go into closed loop, and then we'll check the fuel trim numbers. Alright, so we just went into closed loop. We're at 158 degrees there. Let's go to the short-term fuel trim numbers right here. Look at these numbers. Craziness. Minus 28 is, that's not in spec. Here we go. Here's a short-term minus 28. Where's the long-term? Let me go back. Yeah, we definitely have an issue here. Long-term isn't even showing up. So that's kind of interesting. It's in some kind of default mode, I guess. Alright, it's idling okay. I wish I could have got it on film for you guys where it was just, you got to trust me on it. It was just shutting right off. It was dying out. It wasn't sputtering much. It was just pretty much boom. I took it on a test drive. I put it in first gear, get ready to, let's say, leave a stop sign. As I pushed the clutch in to slow down to come up to the stop sign, it would stall out. It did it several times. Of course, I didn't get it on film. All right, quick update here. Off camera, I did a phone a friend. I called my friend Brian at the How To Automotive YouTube channel here on YouTube. Check out his channel. He's got some really great tips and tricks, and he works on a lot of European cars, so I figured he'd be a good resource to talk to. Gave me a call. I greatly appreciate it, Brian. Thanks a lot. And he told me to look into the, well, what we call the PVC system. PVC, I believe they call it a CCV, crankcase ventilation, positive crankcase ventilation, whatever you want to do. So he's telling me to look at these hoses, and what's interesting is, if I can, I'll throw a picture of what they look like for this particular car, the BMWs, on here in this video. They basically drain back the excess oil vapors that are burned off that come from the crankcase up top by the valve cover, go down to this thing. It's almost like a tank, and any excess oil that's built up from the vapor drains down into the oil dipstick tube. So the oil dipstick tube shaped like a Y, and the hose comes in to drain back down into the oil pan, right? So I go, he said that's highly suspicious with those codes, and he sees it quite a bit. It's common, especially with the stalling issue, which today I couldn't get on camera, but I'll tell you why in just a second. So in between doing all that, I go down there to look, and I'm like, I don't see this thing. So this car has a supercharger, and it's routed differently. So the PCV basically comes off the valve cover. I'm going to just take you down there and show you. And they have it going right into the tubing that goes from the supercharger to the intake. Or not, yeah, I guess the intake, the throttle body. And I'll show you the plumbing. So basically it's still doing that PCV setup, but it's set up different. And sure enough, visual inspection, I looked down there, and let me show you what I saw. So here's our setup. What I did was, normally the PCV line here would not be, it's like that plastic here, it's like this crap right here on the air pump, this plastic stuff that always cracks, So anyway, we have rubber hose here and coming off, and this normally was under the intake. It's got this crazy old school Fram oil or fuel filter on it, I guess, to catch vapors, and it connects right in here to the tubing for the supercharger. So I pulled it out so you could see, what I'm talking about. So anyway, that was under there, and I was, going to chase the PCV. That's what I was like, wow, this looks a little different than stock. And what I did was, I have a screwdriver, a real long, like 10-inch screwdriver right now. Here's our oil dipstick. So I went to look for that, which is capped off. And down there, I don't know if I'm going to get it on film. Let me try. Visually inspected. I don't want to drop my flashlight, so hold on with me. Bear with me for a second. Let me, if you can see, let's see if we can follow this down. Well, I'm not going to try, I am. Hopefully you'll see it. I don't know if it's going to focus. Let me get past that screwdriver. Let's see. There we go. That's it. So I'm going to wiggle the screwdriver around. There's a broken, oops, sorry about the blurriness. There is, oh boy, come on. There is a broken hose, or it's not even disconnected. You can't see it, but there's a clamp right here, and that sucker is broken. So we're gonna have to take off this tubing here, this piping, and maybe a couple other hoses. I'll probably just do it off camera. I've got to somehow get my hand down there, there's a clamp on that, and I saw it. I guess that's what they got in place. It's like a little metal aluminum Bosch part. I don't know what it is. I can't see the part number that clearly. And get down there to get that fixed. So the point is, whether you got this supercharger or not, you need to get in there and check for cracked pipes, tubes, hoses, whatever you want to call it. Anything disconnected, cracked, broken. And to verify, what I'll do is afterwards, I'm going to smoke test this. So I can make sure that I got those leaks fixed. Basically, we're dealing with vacuum leaks here. So let me take you in. I got the supercharger hoses out of the way, or duct work, whatever you want to call it, so you guys can get a better view of our problem, which is right back here under the throttle body where I'm pointing with the screwdriver, so you can see that sucker right now. You can see how open it is. I've got to get that clamp right here off. Let me zoom in a little tighter. There you go. And there's our broken hose, so let me get to it. So here's an update. I ordered that hose that you saw that was cracked, which goes to the, now we know this is the idle air control. It's a Bosch. I yanked it out. It's not dirty because it doesn't have that vapor hose, you know, running directly to it. A lot of times these can clog up, get a lot of oil particles in there from the vapor, and you've got to spray them out and clean them. This one's electronic. Anyhow, I reached down there, unplugged it, yanked out the other side, and here's why I took this out. We saw the hose here that was broken going up towards the intake for the throttle, or the tubing for the throttle, while the other side here is a hose that goes up to underneath the intake. That rubber hose was not cracked, but it's actually sucked in. It's flattened, so I can't film it. I'm gonna go under there, get the other hose clamp off on this end, take it off, show you guys. We're gonna replace that one too. It may be restricting the airflow. I mean, it's pretty flat, kind of strange, but let me do that next and I'll give you an update. Reached my big mitts down in there, not even wearing gloves because I'm just getting all chewed up anyway. They rip in 2 seconds, even the heavy duty ones. Check this hose out. So here we are on the other side of the IAC, and can you see that? It's like flattened out. That's a huge restriction. So anyway, we're gonna change this sucker out too. We'll put it all back shiny and new. All right, so everything's back. I put that vent hose right there, ran it back under the intake. I took my smoke machine here, so you can see my smoke machine. After everything went back, I actually tied into the end of the vent hose here, which runs back behind here, behind the tubing, and made sure that I didn't have any leaks. I put a light down in there under the intake and checked. If you don't have a smoke machine, it's kind of tough. The cigar method, I don't think really works. I just use this cheapo. This is what I got. It's like under $100. You can make it yourself. Let me shut this air off. Anyway, it would be nice if I had the $800 or $1,200 one. Nobody sent me one. It's got a flow meter on it, which is really nice, that little ball, so you can see how big the leak is. So definitely, you know, eyeballing it is one thing, but if you do forget to leave a vacuum hose off or something like that while you're under there, it can give you troubles. You'll start over and you'll wind up having to smoke it, find the leak, and then fix it. So anyway, we're getting close here to firing this car up. All right, so the repair's all done. I've got this broken hose replaced and this flatty here. Got that swapped out, so I'll leave the part number in the description down below if you need that. Anyway, let's go in the car. I want to fire it up. We'll let it go into closed loop and check the fuel trim numbers. We were around -28. So let's see where we are. We want to be close to 0. Right, I'm going to do a cold start here for you guys, and what I'll do is let the engine warm up a little bit, and then we'll go down to the scan tool, check the fuel trim numbers, because remember, we have to be in closed loop in order to get accurate numbers. So let me push the clutch in, we'll fire it up. Starts right up. And it's idling nicely. And like I say, I'll fire up the scan tool as soon as it goes into closed loop. All right, so we're in closed loop. The MAF is now, I did clean the MAF, that's like 0.37. I think that was around 0.6 before. So that looks really good. If you calculate that to grams per second, that's a nice number at idle. The O2s are definitely switching, the front ones. So we're going from low to high. Nice, both of them, both banks, switching nicely. But the best part, look at those short-term fuel trim numbers. They're right around 0. So, you know, anything under 10 is good, but look at that, 0.8, 0, nice, beautiful. That is a fix. The car is idling well. When I took it on a little drive, it's running well. So let's wrap this joint up. So I shut the engine off. I want to clear the codes now. So let's go into diagnostics, read codes. We already know the codes. They're the same codes we had before, those 4.
Go to erase codes. Are you sure? Yes. Turn key on, engine off. And we should be wiping those out now. So what we'll do is clear this out. I'll fire it back up. Make sure we don't have any other codes. Give it a second. Let's go into read codes. No codes found. Terrific.
So there's our P0170 and our P0173, both lean codes, but what's interesting is our short-term fuel trims are -28 in the beginning when we had that vacuum leak. So the computer's pulling away fuel thinking it's rich, but meanwhile the codes we're getting are lean codes. It's a little bit crazy. If you know anything about short-term fuel trim numbers and all that, it's a little bit complicated, a little bit, you got to use this up here. Anyway, I want to thank Brian at How To Automotive to give me good insight or direction to go check that out. I did test the MAF. The MAF's a little unique on here because there's an inline module with the supercharger. Makes it a little bit complicating. We're not going to go there today. Not too many people have the supercharger. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I always appreciate that. And other than that, I hope your BMW is running swell. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.